Jon Anik and Kenny Florian podcast. Jon Anik and Kenny Florian.
I fucking love them. I can't get enough of them.
Let's hear that Boston next.
Big jab there from Duffy, and Frank Mir is hurt now. Down goes Duffy, out cold. Frank Mir does it again. Rock'em sock'em robots here. Oh my goodness.
I can't believe
They're a couple of absolutely self-involved bullshit artists.
Here are your hosts, Jon Anik and Kenny Florian.
Oh, prime time live edition of the Anik and Florian podcast, and somehow I cut off Leon Edwards. Ray, I thought you did something about your dog. Is that your dog, Raymond?
Man,
is that really what we're doing right now?
Oh man, is it gonna? Can you hear it that bad? Can you,
Kenny? Can you hear the dog?
Oh, I can hear Lucky.
We're gonna have problems because I can't bring her in here unless I close this other door.
Well, I mean, this sure is heck isn't the way we drew it up. Yeah, you take your time.
Shit. Holy shit, this dog's
It
gonna
is
kill me.
Thursday, October 27th. The year is 2022. It's a half episode of the Anik and Florian podcast. Heaven forbid the guy mute the microphone when he leaves. I mean, this guy's up.
Can we get Lucky's name in the lower third there, Cody?
I mean, this is the victory tour. This is the victory tour for Ray Longo. Aljamain Sterling's chief corner. Anyway, we're very excited to have you with us, especially those of you joining us live. Of course, this will be repurposed on our YouTube channel and likely on the audio side as well, although maybe fucking not, Ray. I mean, really? Really? He's going to sabotage the program like this? The reason we actually started 7:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and not right on the screw 7:30 was so this dude could go do something about the dog, you know? And yet if you are a regular listener of our show, you know, Ray Longo has these Minutemen, right? This cult following that's sort of like anti-Anik, right? Who think I give him a hard time, you know? So what do you guys have to say for Ray? So we're very excited to be with you. We didn't get a chance to talk to Ray because he was traveling back from Abu Dhabi. So we'll talk to Ray. And then coming up bottom of the hour, Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, will join us.
Is that a little better? Sorry about that.
Oh, for the
better
love
or no?
of
Did you
all
tape his
things
mouth?
sacred.
Duct tape?
No.
What'd you do?
No, we can only hope she stops.
So those of you may not know that Ray twilights on a UFC Fight Pass offering called Extra Rounds. Like when they're cutting you a check, would they put up with that type of secondary noise? It's a serious question.
I don't know. She's very temperamental. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Horrible.
When
Can you hear it now though? Is it should be a little lighter, no?
Yes, it's manageable. It's
Okay.
salvageable. It's great to see you. Welcome home. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And again, John was a lifesaver. I had 2 tickets for my wife and Joe Spinelli, which was saved the day. There was no tickets left. So thank you very much for that. And congrats on the re-up. I think that's huge. Very happy for you. Big news.
Thank you, buddy.
And thanks for everything. The headphones, the check. You guys are the best. And,
hey, we love you.
Yeah.
Standing room only in Abu Dhabi. Had to get Joey Spinelli in the fucking building, right? We found a way.
Joey Mortgage.
Sometimes you hold back the tickets because you just don't know what's going to happen, right? And oftentimes I'll give them to a colleague or give them to a fan. I love giving my tickets to a fan, but nothing made me happier. I was sitting on 2 tickets. Longo comes up to me. The missus needs a ticket. I mean, nobody who I'd rather have sitting in my my nosebleed than Mrs. Longo. So.
Were they nosebleeds? I don't even know.
You have to ask your wife. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think she was bleeding. I saw her after the fact. She wasn't bleeding.
Yeah.
You know who else wasn't bleeding? Aljamain Sterling, huh?
I think he had a little nick on his knee, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
come on, let's unpack this bullshit because I don't even want to spend too much time on this other imbecile. But
yes, let us unpack this bullshit. I know you're laughing to Bank of America. Congratulations, second title defense for Aljamain Sterling.
Right.
TKO at 344 of round 2 after maybe a 10-6 in round 1. You talk us through it from your vantage point. It seemed like you or somebody in that corner saw the dislocation of the shoulder pretty early. What do you have for us?
I think the award goes to Ally Quinter. I think he saw the shoulder out immediately. Look, first off, the kid went in there. We don't know anything. He went into the fight not knowing anything. I don't know if it's sheer arrogance on the other guy's part. Did he honestly think he could beat Aljo with one arm? I'd love to know what his game plan was. I'd love to know, did the team think he had his chance in that fight with one arm, if that's what was going on?
Hey, sheer arrogance. Hey, I'm sorry.
Was it just a cash grab? I mean, I don't know. I'd love to know what the game plan was to beat Aljo with one hand. That's all I want to know. And if it was coming out in sparring or coming out in training, did he put it back in and continue to train? I mean, Weidman's knee in the Bonfeld fight, he had a bucket tear locked up. He had to kick it back in himself. But during training, we were always yanking his leg back in, his kneecap. I don't know. What else we got?
No, I mean, I have a million things. Cody, can he go outside and get away from the fucking dog? Can I ask the viewers if it's as distracting to them as it is to me? No, I've been waiting a long time to obviously chop it up with you about this fight, but it is wildly distracting.
I can barely hear it myself. All
right. No, sorry, Kenny. Am I making too much of it, Ken Flo? Am I? Right? I can be a little dramatic. I can be a little dramatic, you know? I can be a little dramatic. All right, let's get into this a little bit. So we sort of dissected this a little bit on our podcast, right? And I don't even know what the adjective is to describe what Aljamain Sterling has sort of dealt with in terms of like he becomes the undisputed champion by the wildest of circumstances. And now one of his 2 title defenses goes down like this. We talked a lot about big picture, how great his career now looks retrospectively, this 8-fight winning streak, all the big names on it. Say what you want about how this fight manifested itself. I felt a little shortchanged as an MMA fan because I was looking forward to seeing the back and forth, but I certainly love the matchup for Aljo. I love him from a betting perspective. I think against any 35er going forward, he should be favored to beat all these guys. But as a fight fan, I felt shortchanged. I feel like I'm settling in for a title fight, and one guy shouldn't have even been in there in all likelihood, right? I mean,
again, we're dealing with things that Aljo has no control over. All I know is he did his job. 1 hand, 2 hands. He beat the shit out of the guy. I will give it up to him. He took it like a man. He could have tapped out early, but again, I think he's so competitive that it just forced him to take even more of a beating. And again, I don't know what the mindset is to send the guy out for the second round. Like, there's a lot of stuff. He tells Goddard in the back that if my arm pops out, I'll pop it back in. Like, what do you do if you're at the athletic commission? I'm not even sure about that. He put Goddard in a weird position. Like, I don't think this guy could do anything right at this point. And it looks like he's just going to go downhill. Every decision he makes looks like it's just stupidity at this point.
Kenny, I don't know if you have anything for us on that. We talked about it in our full episode, Mark Goddard receiving this information seemingly just before the fight. It's like, what do you do with it? I mean, I don't know. Have you ever disclosed an injury, Ken Flo, to a referee or a doctor or anything like that?
No, definitely not. I think that seemed like a way that he could have kind of an exit plan in case things went down. It was like, hey, I'm probably going to get in trouble at some point. My shoulder could go out, and he knew it was basically going to be the beginning of the end if that happened. And probably wanted the referee to know that, hey, if I get in trouble, it was kind of like a Jedi mind trick, I think, of a way of him to get out of the situation if he got in trouble. But it was a stupid idea, going in there in a professional mixed martial arts fight, let alone against Aljamain Sterling for the world championship, to have a dislocated shoulder. To do that, I think was foolish because it was only going to go one way.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Did his team think he could win that fight?
I don't know. I mean, there should have been someone around, right? A coach,
somebody
letting them know, like, what? Wait a sec, no, you're going to get another shot. And that's what I was talking to John about. It's like, it's not like TJ wasn't going to get another shot. It would have been annoying. He'd have to wait. But the only thing I can think of is that he needed cash. I don't know.
Well, look, he did earn it. Like, again, he could have tapped out quick if he wanted to, but he didn't. He took 10 minutes of really just being kind of mauled to death. So I think he got what he deserved.
So obviously you're not going out of your way to listen to our show, but I went to a different hotel in Abu Dhabi after the fight, and I ran into TJ and his parents. And he said he was basically faced with the proposition of another major surgery, sit out for a year, or try to tough through the training camp and get to fight night. Kind of felt like he was able to get his body to fight night. Didn't necessarily expect that it would go out in the first sequence, but maybe he should have been expectant that would happen. But yeah, it's a hard thing. You don't know what his show money is, but obviously he's missed a lot of time due to injury. Seemingly, if you take him at his word in our fighter meeting, he did say financially he has set himself up after fighting. But I do think it's hard for a lot of guys. You make the weight, you make the walk, you make $350,000 or whatever it is to show. It's a very difficult thing. You can't make that money doing anything else.
I agree with you 100% on that. No, I'm not. I guess I don't know. It just.
Well, no, I'm not taking. There's no side to be had. Like we bemoan the fact that we're not spending more time on Aljamain Sterling, and we will get there. But just a crazy circumstance, and if nothing, Aljo is familiar with those. Yeah, no.
Like again, I think he did his job. He not only did he do his job. I don't care if the guy had one hand or one foot. The guy got the shit beat out of him. So it would have been worse if he didn't totally get the shit. And Aljo did pull back a couple of times. When we told him to attack the shoulder, he really didn't want to. I'm not even joking around. Yeah. I think there was one time he got hit. I don't think he really wanted to do what we would like with the, screaming for him to do. Because I think inherently he's just a really good kid, man. And that's not what he wanted to do, So how was the whole experience for you overall? How was the weight cut and everything with Fight Week? Was it all good? Yeah. I mean, it looked good to me. I don't get that involved the last 2 days. I kind of, back out, he spends with the guys, but I think the weight cut went really well.
Yeah. So in terms of spinning it forward, this is now 2 defenses for your guy, right? And, my twin brother, and by the way, Bilal Muhammad, Jason Anik, coming up 45 minutes, remember the show right on this channel. He hates when I talk superlatively about like greatest of all time, greatest bantamweight of all time, right? And Tj Dillashaw kind of unceremoniously took himself out of that conversation with the performance-enhancing drugs, right? But there isn't a long UFC bantamweight history. There aren't guys who have defended this belt time in and time out, right? Dominic Cruz's history happened in the WEC. And I'm just saying right now, you look at Aljamain Sterling with this 8-fight winning streak, you project him forward now against some of the guys who are coming up. This guy, it stands to reason, is going to retire as the greatest bantamweight of all time. And he's done it in sort of this under the radar way with all of these circumstances. And now all of a sudden you look up, it's like, man, there's a lot of green stripes on the kid's Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Well, I did say this, Kenny, the week before when we were speaking that Jan fight, I think took a big weight off his shoulders. And I think this kid's he's going to get more and more confidence as time goes on. And I know he's got the talent. And I always tell you there's still another 50% Aljo you haven't even seen. So I think he's just starting right now, and he's in a great spot. So, bring on whoever they want to bring on. Cejudo, O'Malley, doesn't really matter. I think Aljo's in the zone right now. This is his time, and, man, he's capitalizing.
So I'm looking at the UFC bantamweight rankings right now, and there is a number 2 next to the name Merab Dvalishvili. So the number 2 ranked contender. What are we going to do with Merab? Good problem to have, right, for the Hall of Fame coach.
It's really a good problem to have. And, those guys will figure it out. Aljo's talked about, going to 45 if he wanted to. But, we still – I think Merab's 1 fight away, and, there's a lot that could happen. So Aljo's definitely pulling for that kid. So it'll be interesting to see. But they're never going to fight each other. They're great friends. I mean, they're both part of each other's success. There's no question about that. It's like a DC and Cain Velasquez. It's the same thing. Then they were never going to fight each other. They weren't going to do a John Jones and Rashad Evans, which look at what a disaster that turned out to be. So I think friendship over money is always the way to go. And there's going to be 1,000 people that will say I'm an idiot, but money was never my god and it never will be. So, I love what I'm seeing out of those 2 guys as far as a friendship and a team goes.
How long do you see Aljo at 135 pounds, or maybe how long do you see Aljo in the UFC for?
Listen, you got to really talk to Aljo. I mean, he definitely wants to do acting. He's a guy that wants to test the waters with everything. So who knows? I'll tell you, he's at peace with himself now. He feels great. And I don't know. I don't think he's going to overstay his welcome, if that's what you're asking. But I don't think I mean, as a coach, I think this guy's in a groove right now that he's got to just ride it out as long as he can.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool to have watched his career trajectory and to see him right here. What's up with a post-fight interview? He's so good at the podium, addressing the media after the fact, talking competitively like an athlete, the Aljo we all know and love. Then he gets in that center of the octagon. He starts, using foul language. Henry's whatever he says, the quirky Aljo comes out in certain moments,
I think that's the difference. I think people base him on his after those interviews. But if you see him in the scrums and the interviews in the back, man, the guy just talks beautifully about how he's helping his mother and things he wants to do and accomplish in life and help people. Yeah. It's a totally, like you say, it's a totally different field. But I don't think many people get to see that. They see the antics, after he's just had a big victory and he's happy as hell and the adrenaline's flowing and that's it,
So, are we allowed to ask you if you make more money with a successful title defense or not? I guess we probably shouldn't ask you that. Here's what we'll ask you, okay?
Yeah.
He didn't want to be asked that. You see that?
I don't know where you're going with it, yeah.
All right, so Anik and Florian LLC will cut you a check for $500 if you can correctly predict who Aljamain Sterling's next opponent will be. Also $500 if you can correctly tell us who Makhachev Dvalishvili's next opponent will be. Now, this doesn't mean signed fight. They have to enter the octagon. Chance for you to add $1,000, to the to the Longo Christmas fund or whatever it is you guys do. I mean, you just flew your wife business class to Abu Dhabi, so every little bit helps. Aljamain Sterling's next opponent, I'd imagine you're going to go chalk and say Henry Cejudo, but we need to know who will be next for Aljo and who will be next for Makhachev Dvalishvili.
That's a good man. That's a really good question.
All right, well, as you chew on that, do you have an answer? By all means.
I'll just take a shot. I'm going to go. Originally, I would have said Cejudo, but I'm going to go. It's going to be Aljo against O'Malley.
Do you see? This is intel, right? I can't get anything resembling a fucking straight answer from this guy. But you dabble a little bit of cash, and then he gives you the most. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Okay, so what was the other one?
Makhachev. I guess it doesn't really matter because we have to talk about this O'Malley Aljo stuff. We'll table that one. But if you want to, if you think it's going to be Sandhagen or someone for Makhachev, by all means.
I think it's Sandhagen.
All right, so why are you telling us that Aljamain Sterling's next fight is going to be against the now number one contender, Sugar Sean O'Malley?
I mean, I think I saw something where he went back and looked at the fight and he thinks he won. I think if he would have thought he lost, he probably wouldn't take the fight, but I think he thinks he won the fight, and he's going to take. He wants the title shot. That's what they offered him. They said whoever wins this fight gets a title shot. So I think it's a no-brainer unless Cejudo can somehow sway the powers to be to let him in there so he could bring the title back to Mexico. I think that's what he said he wanted to do.
So did you see the O'Malley Piotr Jan fight?
Yeah. Well, look, I was in the back.
Right.
And I did watch it, but Aljo was warming up, so I can't say I watched it, but I did come back and rewatch the fight.
I was going to say, if this was extra rounds, with that fat weekly check, you almost assuredly would have watched it back. So thank you for watching it back in advance of the Anik and Florian podcast. What do you have for us on O'Malley and Jan?
Man, that was a super close fight, man.
Yeah.
In the back, I'm going to say, when I was in the back, I thought Jan got robbed. I thought he won the fight. But rewatching the fight, I think O'Malley got 1-3. But it was really super close. But I'm going to say, I think it's the type of fight, if you're a Jan fan. Look, wait, let me, before I even get to that point. I watched it today again with the guys in the gym. And with all of us standing there, 30-27 for Jan. They just wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm like, but this is super close. I mean, this is close, man. I mean, you can't say it definitely isn't a robbery either way. And I'm going to say, if you're a Jan fan, you're going to see it for Jan. If you're an O'Malley fan, you're going to see it for O'Malley. I think it was that close, and you got to go back to the score. You guys know how to score a fight better than me at this point, but I do think O'Malley did some damage in that fight, and he looked pretty good. Yeah.
That's how I saw it, Ray. I had first round for O'Malley. I had third round for O'Malley. I thought was Petr Yan. Yeah. And prior to him getting knocked down, I thought he was winning the fight.
Right.
I don't have a problem if someone said, hey, Yan won 29-28. I think they have an argument there. I don't see the 30-27 at all. But if it went the other way, I'd say, yeah, it's close. It was definitely close. Very close.
I think it was that type of fight, period.
So was that the next fight? Do you think that's going to be the next fight, O'Malley and Aljo then?
I think so. I think that's the fight to make. O'Malley's got a good presence. He could draw people. And I think, again, he went into that fight believing that if he won, he was getting the title shot. So I think it would look weird for him not to take the title shot at this point,
I think you should tell Aljo. Go ahead, Ken Flo.
I was going to say, Ray, sorry. I would assume that you guys really like that matchup.
Based on what I saw the other night, yeah, I like it a lot.
I think you should tell Aljo maybe he should try to take Sean down. Avoid some of those long-range weapons. Anyone who listens to our show knows, though, and we had Sean O'Malley on our show for the first time about 2.5 years ago, he's an elite bantamweight, and he proved as much. And sometimes I think when you win a fight, you're less celebrated than if you lose a close fight, right? There are countless examples in MMA history. If Sean O'Malley lost this decision, everybody would be singing his praises even more than they are right now. But now people want to denigrate him to whatever degree or take away from him because, it was a close fight and, maybe Jan didn't get the credit he deserved for the grappling element. But, I think I just think Aljo's strength and physicality, I'm no expert, Ken Flo, but just against a lot of these guys, right? Whether they're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt or more grappler than striker or not. I just, when Aljo looks me in the eye now 2 years running at every fighter meeting and says, these guys, they just can't grapple with me. Like you start to believe it,
Well, I thought he handled himself beautiful in the fighter interview. See, he comes in, he doesn't just say things. He's got stats to back him up too. He's very, very intelligent, always watching tape, super student of the game. So he's always got a good point, and trust me, there'll be a big difference between Jan's grappling and his grappling when it hits the floor. Like Aljo's a wrestler and a really good jiu-jitsu guy. He's not going to sit in the guard. He's going to pass. He's going to make things happen. I mean, he's crazy with the scrambles, right? Like even when he knocked Dillashaw down, he's all over you. Like he's and he did it with Jan too. Jan tried to get away and you could see like a cat. He's just, those are long leaps and then he's on your back and then he's making things happen. It's he's finding I'm telling you, his confidence is over the top now. And unless you can do something to sway that, you're going to have a major problem with him at this point.
So you've had a lot of famous quotes in the corner, right? Punch a hole through his fucking chest comes to mind. I don't know what it was this time around. I don't know if it was show him no mercy or whatever it was. I don't know if you're channeling your fucking Johnny from the Karate Kid. I mean, you heartless mother. I mean, my kids are you heartless motherfucker. Show no mercy, fucking ripping shoulder out of socket. You New Yorkers, man, you got built different, right?
If he wasn't a PED abuser, I would have never said that. But, no. First of all, wait, hold on. I take it back. That's Iaquinta. I don't want to take his line.
Oh, the guy that was Raging Al.
I think that was Raging Al for sure. I was so impressed with what he did in the first round. I might have left the building at that point. I was like, holy shit, this is a beatdown. And Al was like, he said it right away. His arm is out, but I acted like as if there was no arm out. You know what I mean? Except when we told him to attack the arm. But I was really super impressed with that first round. I was like, holy shit, that was phenomenal. So I don't know.
You're just ruthless, aren't you? Though I mean, Ken Flo is the most ruthless. I mean, let's be honest.
I think that's normal behavior. 25, 15 minutes, that door closes. Me personally, I don't give a shit after that. I feel, I think I even apologized to one of his coaches, which I love all the guys in his corner too, which makes it weird. But I think I did apologize. And I think he said, no, it's fucking war at that point, which I agree with,
Yeah, I mean, it's either you or them, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, there's no – I don't want to see my guy get hurt. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. If they have an opportunity to hurt you, they're going to. I mean, that's the way you got to take it. So,
But Just a weird circumstance. What's the matter with this guy?
I just, if you think for a second, if Ben Askren is stiff as a board, if you think for a second, Ken Flo's getting one more elbow in, super necessary or otherwise, he is. He's not here to leave things to chance. He's just not.
John, sometimes the free shots are the best shots. You know what I mean?
It depends on the circumstances, right? It's like you get someone who's talking shit and
100%.
saying certain things, they're insulting you.
The guys,
listen. It's like when I fought Joe Lozon, it's like, hey man, like I could have gone for a submission. I didn't. You gotta put a little oomph into it.
Dillashaw did say Aljo's stand-up was an embarrassment to the whole division.
Yeah.
So, I think, I think he got what he deserved. I think karma's a bitch. And, again, why would you go in there with one? That I think is just insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Longo firing on all cylinders. While we're at it, Ken Flo and I will bang on those Brockton boys, Lozon MMA. We're the Metro West boys. We don't have no silver spoons, Just because you live in the Metro West pocket doesn't mean Ken Flo and I, we did landscaping. We fucking dug ditches.
That's right. You need to
beat up on that Brockton ass 2008 UFC Fight Pass.
That's why you guys are successful. You went through all those nasty, shitty jobs. I think everybody needs that, so they never want to go back to that shit again.
Hey, I some of this is tongue in cheek, right? I'm not your foremost example.
Jay, John and I grew up. We only had a 3-car garage. We didn't grow up with those other guys that had 4-car garages, right?
Unbelievable. 3-car garage. Look at you guys.
Yeah.
Silver spoon.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I should have known.
Perpetually misunderstood, like a lot of people in the public eye. Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, is supposed to join us any minute, so he's going to come in here as soon as he's ready to go. But we do have a couple more minutes with you. Anything else UFC 280 related that is worth discussing? Obviously, very impressed with Sean O'Malley and Beneil Dariush. Islam Makhachev, man. What was it like for you just the whole week? Anything? I thought
it was great, man. I ended up going down to Dubai for a day also after the fight, which was phenomenal. Yeah. But no, the fight, man, I thought it was just I felt the excitement of that card. And I'll tell you, Beneil Dariush, I want to believe nice guys finish first. I hope they don't screw this guy. I thought that was a great fight for him. I thought it was just a beautiful performance. And, I don't think he's the type of guy they like because he's actually a normal person, but he deserves the shot.
It's so funny you describe him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Ray, I was going to say, I think he deserves it too. But do you think he missed out on an opportunity instead of when they asked him if he wanted the title shot? He said, I don't know. We'll see. But I felt like he missed out on a big opportunity to say, yeah, I want that shot. I deserve to be, the next guy. I don't know.
You know what the problem is, Kenny? He's just, look, I don't really know. I know him just a little bit. He's walking around with his kid. He's just not that guy. And I don't think that should be what determines whether you get a title shot. He does what he has to do when he's in there. That was a beautiful fight against the guy that they thought was going to kill him. You know what I mean? Like that, he was a pretty big underdog, in that fight.
Yeah. Yep.
He made that look easy to me. He really did. He shut that guy down completely. And
that's awesome.
I think that's I'd like, listen, it's like talk with your fists. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what he does. I don't think you should make that guy act like a circus monkey jumping around in there to get a title fight. I know. Right? Sure, why change the guy? The guy's a great guy.
Yeah. I agree, but I think he could have said, "Yeah, I think I just proved that I'm the number one guy. I should get the next shot." Right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, he could have.
There's so many great fighters at 155. I think on paper and based on his performance, he should get it. But a part of this is obviously asking for what you want and helping to hype the next fight. He doesn't have to go full Conor McGregor, but saying, you get a question, do you think you deserve it? A simple yes would have helped. He didn't even say that.
Yeah. That's definitely not good. But I think I think he's a family guy and he loves to fight and that's what he wants to do. Yeah. And I guess he doesn't really, I think he's the type of guy that is expecting the organization to do the right thing. When he deserves it, they'll give it to him. And I think that's where the disconnect is. Knowing him, the little I know him, I don't know him that well, but you could see like he's just in a different space than most guys, you know.
Well,
but
you can control what you can control. I'm not going to share my opinion. You can check out our full-length episode. I gave a pretty long-winded take on that, but I think it's funny when you sort of say like nice guys finish first, right? He's sort of like a self-proclaimed asshole a little bit, right? Like he wants to kind of be this mean guy who keeps to himself, right? That is sort of left alone. You know, he is a nice guy inherently. But I think that he's just a fighter's fighter, man, and just a victim of circumstance right now. Hey, Ray, we're going to let you go, my man. We got Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad, waiting on deck. But thank you for your time. Congratulations on another championship fight victory. And we'll talk to you in the regular Monday slot, I guess, next week, with or without your dog.
Oh yeah, I'm livid about that.